welcome back to CEO.CA's Inside the Boardroom. I'm Rachel Lee, and in this edition, we're talking about Gladiator Metals, a junior explorer in the White Horse Copper Belt in Yukon, a prolific mining territory. With us is Marcus Harden, president of Gladiator Metals. Marcus, thanks for being here.
Thanks, Rachel. Thanks for having me.
So especially for our viewers who are completely new to Gladiator, can you give us an overview of the company and what you're up to lately as well?
Yeah, certainly. So Gladiator Metals is a junior copper explorer up in the Yukon. We acquired the White Horse Copper Belt about a year ago from some White Horse-based businessmen who'd managed to put the ground together. It's a previously producing district, and it closed down in a prevailing low copper price environment. We picked up the project around a year ago, and we've been sort of putting together, so it's been a bit of a forensic exercise, putting back together all of the historic data, the drilling, and we were very pleased to find that there were some advanced targets that had been drilled, sometimes down to a 12 by 12 meter spacing by Hud Bay. So we would regard them as sort of as advanced resource-ready prospects within the area. Typically high grades. The previous mine produced at 1.5% copper and around a gram a ton gold. And we've been busy following up on those over the past year, putting them back together.
Yeah, and I understand that drilling is underway for the company right now. So tell us a little bit more about the recently announced 5,000 meter program.
Yeah, so we've got 2 rigs out there currently. We've drilled about 1,500 meters so far. Those rigs are both based at Cowley Park, which is our most advanced prospect. As I mentioned, there was a lot of drilling previously done in the area, and Cowley Park was drilled to a fairly close spacing back in the 1980s. So we've really been following up on that. Our drilling is designed to do multiple things. One is to sort of is to gain confidence in the geology and to build up and demonstrate to the market that the Cowley Park is resource ready. When we pull the trigger on a full-scale drill out. But also there's a couple of other things. Historically, they're only assayed for copper, and that's despite other co-products such as gold, silver, and in particular molybdenum at Cowley Park being significant credits to the mill during production. So our drilling is also going to be incorporating those elements into future resources and gaining some understanding of their distribution relative to the copper mineralization. And the drilling is also going to be doing some step outs for the first time. Most of the historical drilling was based around areas of outcrop, and actually there wasn't much drilling out under the tills along strike or in any of the other directions from the high-grade mineralization on surface. So we're going to be putting a couple of holes in, trying to extend the mineralization beyond the 800-900 meters that's already been defined, maintain that continuity, prove up that continuity by consistent, closely spaced drilling, sort of roughly 35 to 40, as well as targeting some exciting IP anomalies that have been coming up through our geophysical work as well.
And let's talk about those anomalies, chargeability anomalies. Why is this, significant or important for investors to take note of?
I think this is important because this is a sort of a step out exploration from what's previously been presented. So we've currently got a pretty well-defined body at Cowley Park through historical drilling and our drilling with some good widths up sort of 90 meters of 1.5 and 2% with some good molybdenum grades as well. Our most southeasterly drill hole is 43 meters at 2.5% copper, and it's open. But what's really exciting is that the IP is sort of our first look undercover. So most of the historical drilling really has been based around outcrop, and whereas the surrounding area is covered by sort of 10 to 15 meters of till, which is geochemically blind, and the geophysics is lighting up some very nice chargeability anomalies, as you mentioned, and those chargeability anomalies could represent significant sized bodies of copper sulfide mineralization that has never been drill targeted. And that's simply because back in the 1980s, when it was being explored, they didn't have sort of ready access to these techniques undercover.
Right. And Cowley Park is part of a bigger drilling program, about 13,000 meters. So tell us a little bit more, I guess, about the big picture objectives of this program as a whole.
Yeah, so we have two advanced targets, which are we're currently weighing up against one another to see which one we should try drilling towards resources first. So Cowley Park is the current lead, but we also have another target called Little Chief. Little Chief was actually the previous area of historical production. It produced 8.5 of the 10 million tons that came out of the district. But in the last days of the mining, they actually discovered an ore body to the north of Little Chief called Middle Chief, which was drilled to fairly close spacing from the decline, so from underground only. And that drilling has defined some good broad widths of up to 43 meters at 3.1% copper. There's no analysis for co-products, despite gold being a significant credit at the time of production. So we're looking to expand our drilling on that, start doing step-out drilling, see if there's a larger target that we can be putting into resource status, but also getting us some understanding so that we can weigh up that target against Cowley Park and determine which one is going to be the most cost-effective resources that we can put into effect with our current budget. Outside of that, we have multiple advanced targets, again, with historic drilling, but perhaps not quite as resource ready. One of those is at Arctic Chief. We've just done 2,500 meters there. And we're looking to put another roughly 2,000 meters into the Cub Trend, which is about 2.5 kilometers to the west of Cowley Park, and which has seen some small-scale production in the past, has some broad intercepts of copper mineralization already, but there just hasn't been the systematic drilling to bring that up to resource status, or any systematic drilling between there and Cowley Park, 2.5 kilometers to the east, despite there being geological continuity on surface that's targetable. So these are all shallow, near surface, fairly high grade copper targets. They've all had some drilling in them already, so we already have significant intercepts on all of those targets. And this drilling is really designed to present to market two advanced targets, which are ready for resource drilling, as well as 3 or 4 secondary targets with significant intercepts that can be ranked alongside those, so that the market can see where we're going to be heading once those resources are on the books.
And Marcus, let's talk about financing related to the drilling you have going on now and for the next few months. What's your financial position?
Yeah, so actually we just went through a raise last month. So we currently have $9 million in the bank. We're obviously burning through that with 2 rigs drilling, but we still expect to be, even post this 13,000 meters and potentially some more drilling as well, by the end of the year, we should still be at around $5 million. We can actually operate fairly cheaply because we're located within 30 kilometers of Whitehorse. We have all year round infrastructure. There's, because it was a previously producing mine, there's actually a haul road running through the projects, so everywhere can be accessed all year round. But it also means that a lot of those ancillary costs for exploration, so things like a camp or fuel on site, or power, just they're not necessary for us. And all that means that we can keep our drill costs per meter down under around $250, and that's including assays and personnel. So that's a true all-in cost, and drill costs around 150 to 200. So that's in comparison to a lot of our competitors in the Yukon who are quite remote and where drilling's a lot more expensive. Can
you give us a little bit more info on investment catalysts, especially coming up in the next few months for our investors? Yeah, so obviously there'll be a lot of news flow attached to that drilling. There's going to be, as well as drilling at Cowley Park, and there's going to be drilling at, there's already been some drilling at Little Chief and Arctic Chief. Those results are anticipated in the coming weeks. And then we will also be doing further drilling in multiple prospects. We've got more IP going on as well, so hopefully that will identify some more chargeability anomalies. But I think the real catalysts are probably the step outs at Cowley Park and Little Chief, so proving up that these have really good advanced resource potential for us to be drilling into resource status next year. Great. Marcus, thanks again for being here. Thank you very much. That's Marcus Harden, president of Gladiator Metals, ticker symbol GLAD on the Venture Exchange. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time.